Welcome everyone to our discussion on a very intriguing aspect of global competition satellite navigation systems. We're diving into the high stakes battle between America's GPS and China's BeiDou, and also touching on a program called Delete America, which is reshaping tech in China.
I'm really excited to get into this today. So, we're talking about a competing narrative. On one side, we have the US GPS, and then there's China's BeiDou, which is designed to replace it, right?
Exactly. Yep. You see, GPS, as we know it, has been a fundamental asset owned and operated by the US government. But China, not content with just that, has developed its own homegrown system called BeiDou.
That's really something. And isn't BeiDou already known for having higher degrees of accuracy and reliability? It sounds almost like it's been engineered to outperform GPS in certain aspects.
Yes, indeed. Its accuracy, especially outside the US and Western Europe, is really impressive. It's well suited to cater to a global market that includes South Asia, South America,
Right,
and
right.
Africa.
So, let me get this straight. While the US has been a pioneer with GPS, China is making a decisive move and ensuring that they're not dependent on foreign technology, correct?
Absolutely. And it's not just about replacing one system with another. China's so called Delete America initiative is aggressively removing foreign software and applications from its critical IT systems. This means they'd rather depend on their own technologies rather than rely on, well, American systems.
That makes sense. Interesting. But don't you think that such nationalistic moves could affect global integration? I mean, if China isolates its systems too much, wouldn't that lead to compatibility issues or even conflict in international tech standards?
That's a great point, and there is definitely room for debate there. On one hand, China is boosting domestic innovation, driving its own research to ensure security and independence. On the other hand, it might well create, a fragmented
exactly.
digital landscape.
And then there's the whole geopolitical layer here. You mentioned that GPS is a critical function in scores of industries. So, in replacing GPS with BeiDou, China is, I guess, not just making a technological swap, but also sending a strong political signal.
Right on point. The message is clear. China wants to ensure that its critical infrastructure is under its own control. This is essentially tied to national security and economic autonomy.
Totally on target. I read somewhere that BeiDou is less susceptible to interference and jamming. How critical is that in our current techno warfare environment?
Oh, it's very critical indeed. Think of it like having a car with anti-theft features that keep it secure from, well, hackers. Beidou's design helps it resist jamming and interference better than its counterparts. This is a huge advantage, especially in military and strategic communications.
Absolutely, that's important. But if I may challenge that a little, could the increased resistance to interference be more a result of the design being optimized for certain regions rather than an overall superior system?
That's a fair critique. It's like comparing apples to oranges in some cases. Whereas Beidou is particularly optimized to perform in regions outside the US and Western Europe, its overall performance might not be uniformly superior everywhere. Yet it's still like a strong competitor in the global arena.
Interesting nuance there. And talking about neural adjustments, I'm curious. How quickly is BeiDou being adopted globally? Are there specific regions leading this change?
Yes, it's really gaining traction in South Asia, South America, and Africa, exactly because those regions might be more receptive to this alternative. It's a strategic move by China to build alliances and market share in these developing areas.
Right, exactly. So, in effect, while the US holds a long-standing historical advantage with GPS, China is investing heavily in an alternative that not only offers technical benefits, but also serves broader political objectives.
Precisely. And it's like building your own house instead of renting. You have full control. China's policymakers see GPS replacement with BeiDou as a means to this end. And then throw in the aggressive Delete America policy, and it really underscores the deep strategic thought behind the move.
Got it. There's also mention of a very robust set of research resources, like Wall Street Journal, LA Times, and South China Morning Post. This indicates that mainstream media and global analysts are keeping a close eye on this competition, right?
Yes, indeed. Those external sources add a layer of verification and perspective that really highlight the seriousness of this strategic competition. It's not just a tech upgrade, it's a geopolitical shift.
Absolutely, that's a robust signal. Now think about the implications on industries beyond tech, like, say, aviation, logistics, and even day-to-day navigation in consumer devices. Could this shift make global navigation more fragmented? Or might we see concurrent systems managing seamlessly?
It's a bit of both, really. I mean, on the one hand, you might see fragmentation, especially if political tensions rise. But on the other hand, industries might adopt dual systems to ensure compatibility. The reality is, a lot depends on international agreements and, well, technical integrations that can bridge these systems over time.
Yeah, that's a complex balance indeed. And also, isn't there an inherent risk if one system gets compromised? For example, if GPS experiences disruptions, even if it's intentional, that could lead to major pitfalls in, say, military or emergency services.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
having an independent system like BeiDou is seen as crucial by China, not just to avoid geopolitically driven risks, but also to ensure continuity in critical applications during conflicts or technical emergencies.
There's an interesting angle here on how technology is being weaponized or leveraged as an economic and strategic tool. It's like really the entire world of satellite navigation is an arena for proving technological sovereignty.
Absolutely, and it's not just about sovereignty, but also about efficiency. With BeiDou, you have a system that's already demonstrating higher resistance to sabotage and jamming. And that ties back to the concept of delete America, where China is actively removing vulnerabilities from their IT infrastructure by cutting ties with foreign tech.
Precisely. One could say that this competition is almost like a race for tech independence. But I'm wondering, can't the US also innovate further to protect and evolve GPS against these advancements?
That's a valid challenge. The US, with its deep rooted experience and a heavy ecosystem built around GPS, is no slouch in innovation either. However, the nature of technological progress means that every system, no matter how established, faces challenges that can force improvements. In this way, the competition might actually spur further advancements in both
Exactly.
systems.
It's like healthy competition in sports, pushing both sides to be better, right? And speaking of healthy competition, there's also the economic aspect. I mean, these technological shifts influence not just military and defense sectors, but also commercial industries, right?
Oh, for sure. Think about it. Industries as diverse as logistics, transportation, agriculture, even ride hailing apps rely heavily on satellite navigation. So any enhancement or disruption has a ripple effect across these sectors. It's like switching the engine in your car while you're driving. You might get bumps along the way, but ultimately performance can improve dramatically.
Definitely. And given how comprehensive China's Delete America program is, we're basically looking at a complete overhaul of how critical IT infrastructure is managed. It's extremely ambitious.
Yes, it's like a sweeping reform. Every industry, every application is under scrutiny to remove dependencies on, foreign software. The idea is to create a controlled ecosystem where national priorities govern everything.
Yep, that's a huge comprehensive strategy. Now, here's one thing that might not get enough attention: the user end of these systems. While we talk about geopolitical strategy, what does this mean for everyday consumers in China and globally? Will there be a seamless transition, or are we looking at some disruptions?
It's a good question. For domestic users in China, the transition could be pretty seamless due to the government's strong influence on technology infrastructure. Globally, though, there might be a period of adjustment as industries integrate multiple systems or choose one over the other, potentially leading to some operational hiccups.
That's definitely a concern. And don't you think that such disruptive policies, while being strategically sound on paper, might create a sort of dual standard situation where what works in China may not work elsewhere?
That's an interesting critique. Actually, yes. It may well create separate tech ecosystems, a sort of bifurcation where Western and Chinese systems operate in parallel, each optimized for its own region and standards. It's a challenge for global harmonization, but it could also lead to innovation through competition.
True enough. When you put it all together, it's clear that the satellite navigation competition is about much more than just technology. It's a reflection of, broader economic and geopolitical shifts.
Precisely. It's a stark reminder that technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. These systems, GPS, BeiDou, and policies like Delete America, are fundamentally interwoven with questions of sovereignty, security, and international influence.
Yep, exactly. Looking ahead, do you think we might see more countries investing in their own systems if global tensions continue? Or is this a scenario unique to these superpowers?
I suspect more countries might consider developing or adopting alternate systems, especially if they feel vulnerable being locked into one superpower's technology. But realistically, the capital and expertise required means that for now, this kind of competition is mostly a realm for major players like the US and
That
China.
makes sense. It's kind of like a technological chess match. Each innovation forces the other to adapt, and the stakes keep getting higher.
Exactly. A strategic game where every move, whether it's an upgrade to satellite navigation or a policy change on software dependencies, can have long lasting ripple effects. And that's why this conversation is so important, not just for tech enthusiasts, but for anyone interested in global politics and economics.
Absolutely, a very layered and fascinating discussion. Thanks for walking through this maze of satellite navigation systems, geopolitical strategy, and tech policy with me. There's so much more to unpack in future discussions for sure.
Indeed. Stay tuned as we keep an eye on how these competing systems shape our world and influence everything from everyday navigation to global power dynamics. Thanks for tuning in, and catch you next time.